Rangers head into this meeting with Dundee United carrying the kind of complication nobody wants at this stage of the season. Just when the schedule starts to stack up, every match begins to feel heavier. There comes a problem that shakes the manager's plans and forces the squad to stretch itself even further. The preparation for Wednesday has been moving at full speed, but the mood shifted the moment news broke from the training ground. And suddenly, the attention is split between focusing on the match and figuring out how the team will cope with yet another unexpected blow. Supporters have felt the tension as well, because every time an issue like this appears, it changes the rhythm, the momentum, the entire way the next few weeks might unfold. Danny Rowe laid everything on the table, and honestly, it was the kind of update that hits harder the more you think about it. Oliver Antman, who was just beginning to find his feet, is now facing a hip injury serious enough to keep him out for roughly 8 weeks. When you stack that against the schedule ahead, it means he could miss up to 13 matches, which is massive for a team that has already been struggling for depth. It is the worst timing imaginable, especially with the winter totally unforgiving and the matches coming one after another. The defensive situation has been stretched thin for weeks, with Derek Cornelius ruled out until January and hopes around John Souttar still resting on the uncertainty of his recovery. Bailey Rice also remains unavailable until the new year, which further reduces the options the coaching staff can call on. Even though Antman does not play in the defensive line, losing him chips away at the flexibility the manager relies on to shuffle players around when things get tight. Every senior option matters when the squad is running this close to its limit. The Finland international arrived from Go Ahead Eagles with the expectation that this stretch of the season would help him settle, show more of his character with the ball, and push for a stronger role. Instead, all of that progress hits a wall, and it hits hard. The injury is not the type that heals with a quick rest. It demands a long recovery, proper rehabilitation, and patience, which is probably the hardest part for a player still trying to establish himself. When Rose spoke ahead of the Dundee United match, you could feel the frustration behind his words. He explained that Antman is out for 8 full weeks with this hip problem, meaning the earliest he might be cleared to return to training would be around the end of January. That does not mean he will be match ready, just medically cleared to get back on the pitch and start working towards full sharpness. If everything goes perfectly, the match against Porto at the end of January could be his first real opportunity, but even that sounds optimistic given how demanding the team's system can be. Under Rowe, the style has been built around energy, constant movement, and fast transitions. It is not the kind of environment where a player can simply step back in after a long layoff and immediately look like their best version. The biggest risk here is rushing him too soon. Hip and abductor injuries are notoriously tricky, and one wrong step can send the entire recovery backwards. For Antman personally, it is a gut punch. He had been eager to show something different, to bring a spark, to make himself difficult to ignore in the attacking rotations. Instead, he is staring at weeks on the sidelines while the fixtures keep piling up without him. Every player hates being stuck watching from the outside, especially during a period where opportunities could have opened up, but he will have to deal with the frustration and focus on returning properly. For the team as a whole, the headache only grows. The next stretch includes league matches, European nights, and barely any breathing room in between. With so many senior names out or unavailable, the squad has reached the point where every minor issue feels like it carries double the weight. These absences underline how crucial the January window will be. The club cannot afford a gentle approach. Reinforcements need to be identified early, and ready to step in the moment the window opens. It is not just about improving quality, but maintaining stability. Without fresh legs and reliable depth, the season can tilt quickly in the wrong direction. The loss of Antman, combined with the gaps in defense, paints a picture that is more fragile than supporters would like. It highlights the importance of having solutions ready before problems multiply. Rowe will now be tested in ways no manager enjoys, forced to reshape ideas on the fly, rely on players being adaptable, and find ways to keep the team competitive even when the toolbox is far from full. Rangers have been through challenges like this before, but every season brings its own version of strain, and this one is no exception. Meanwhile, another storyline has been gaining attention around the club, and this one actually brings a bit of clarity. Nico Raskin, whose contract situation had fueled some worry among supporters, is not set to leave in just over a year, as many believed. Instead, his contract runs until the summer of 2028, which gives Rangers far more security regarding his future. The Belgian midfielder has grown into a key figure both for his national team and for Rangers, and knowing that his deal extends further than previously thought will comfort fans who feared losing him too soon. His journey over the past seasons has had its ups and downs. He arrived from Standard Liège in a deal that was seen as a real coup for the club, especially for the price involved. His ability to play deeper or push slightly higher has made him vital across several managerial changes. There was a period earlier this year when his place in the squad looked uncertain, particularly when he was left out of key matches under Russell Martin. That chapter created noise and speculation, some of it completely off the mark, and Raskin himself admitted recently that it was one of the hardest stretches of his career. The important part is that he pushed through it with the help of the people around him, and he has since worked his way back into a central role under Rowe. He has not only reclaimed his place, but has been trusted in big matches, including European nights and intense league clashes. He even returned from the most recent international break, having played every minute for Belgium in their qualifiers, which shows how highly he is regarded at both club and national level. Even his father stepped in recently to cool down rumors about a January exit, making it clear that the plan is to stay at Rangers, contribute through the World Cup season, and push forward with the project at Ibrox. As the squad gets deeper into this demanding stretch, the spotlight naturally shifts towards the players who have carried the weight week after week, e especialmente para aqueles que vivem fases de reconstrução dentro do próprio elenco. Among them, the situation surrounding Raskin has created plenty of debate, not just for what it means in the short term, but for how it shapes the long-term picture at Ibrox. The confirmation that his contract runs until the summer of 2028 has offered a sense of relief across the support, particularly after months in which uncertainty seemed to cloud everything around his name. That extra year on his deal does not just stabilize the club's planning, it also reflects the investment Rangers believe still exists within him, both as a player and as a presence in the heart of the midfield. The twists he faced earlier in the year were difficult for him to shake off. Being left out of key fixtures, especially the derby and high-pressure league outings, took a toll that he no longer tries to hide. When he speaks about that period, you can hear the honesty in his voice, the frustration of a footballer who knew he had more to give, but simply was not being given the platform. Players talk all the time about staying focused, but when you spend weeks feeling like someone else is dictating your story, it hits you in ways the supporters rarely get to see. Throughout that spell, Raskin leaned heavily on the dressing room environment, a place where teammates and staff made sure he never drifted into the shadows. You can sense how much that meant to him, especially now that he has managed to regain rhythm and consistency under a manager who values his energy and game intelligence. What stands out is how quickly he has turned things around. Just a few months ago, he was watching vital matches from the outside. Now he is trusted in every major occasion, delivering steady performances in domestic competitions and handling the intensity of European nights with the kind of assurance that shows how far he has come mentally. The international break only added to his momentum. Playing every minute for Belgium in 2 crucial qualifiers has reminded everyone why he is viewed as a key figure for the future. It has also shown that his game translates naturally across different systems, different tempos, and different demands. That level of adaptability is exactly what Rangers need during a season packed with pressure and unpredictability. Even so, he admits he is still chasing his absolute best form. There are moments where he does everything right, moments where he still feels the weight of that difficult spell lingering. Footballers often talk about rhythm, and in his case, rhythm is more than physical fitness. It is about confidence, clarity, and the freedom to express himself in tight spaces, under pressure, with thousands of eyes expecting perfection every time he touches the ball. Step by step, he is getting there, and the signs are far more encouraging now than they were at any stage earlier in the campaign. What helps him is the competitive environment within the squad, a place where every role is earned daily. There is no hiding, no comfort zone, only constant competition that brings out the edge in players who embrace the challenge rather than fear it. Raskin's resurgence also comes at a moment where the team desperately needs stability in midfield. With the squad stretched and key names fighting their way back from injury, having someone who can anchor transitions, press with purpose, and break lines with composure is priceless. There are phases of the game where he becomes the heartbeat of the team, dictating tempo with simple passes or injecting urgency with quick switches of play. Supporters appreciate that sort of player because they see how much of the game flows through him, especially in matches where Rangers must find balance between aggression and patience. The manager's trust in him reflects that influence, as he has become one of the names written onto the team sheet with no hesitation. One of the more fascinating elements of his journey is how he has handled criticism. Earlier in the season, he was painted as the source of problems he did not fully understand, a narrative he never openly confronted at the time. Hearing him look back on that stretch now, you can sense how much was said about him without any real connection to what was actually happening internally for a player still relatively young and far from his peak years. Such noise can easily derail confidence. Instead, he chose silence and hard work, letting his football speak for him when the opportunity finally returned. That choice has paid off, and it shows a maturity that not every player develops so early in their career. Around him, the atmosphere within the squad has also shifted. There is a renewed energy in training, a sense of purpose that becomes clearer as the fixtures grow more intense. Players who struggled earlier in the season are starting to find their rhythm again, pushed on by the urgency of the moment and the demands of playing for a club that measures success in silverware, and every session carries meaning. Every match feels like a test of character, and the internal competition is fierce. Those conditions are perfect for someone like Raskin, who thrives when he must fight for his influence rather than simply be handed it. The hunger is visible in the way he moves, the way he closes down space, the way he demands the ball even when the pace of the match becomes chaotic. Off the pitch, the expectation around him continues to rise. particularly with the World Cup approaching. Being part of a national team preparing for a tournament spread across the United States, Canada, and Mexico is not a small achievement. It adds layers to his development, giving him exposure to coaching approaches and tactical systems that differ from what he sees week in and week out at club level. That mixture strengthens his game, enhances his decision-making, and gives him the confidence that he belongs on stages far bigger than the domestic arena. Rangers benefit directly from that, gaining a player who returns sharper, more experienced, and more prepared to lead. What makes this moment especially important for him is the timing within his career. He is at an age where midfielders begin defining the type of player they will become long-term. Some settle into predictable patterns, while others use these formative years to expand their game. In Raskin's case, the signs point towards growth rather than stagnation. His range of passing continues to improve, his awareness in tight spaces feels sharper, and his defensive reading is becoming one of his strongest assets. There is still plenty to refine, but the foundation is strong and the ceiling remains high. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Rumblings a Skirlin Rune Govan this morning as a sudden swirl of chatter has Kevin Nisbet at the very edge of signing with Rangers in what insiders are whispering was a lightning-quick agreement. There's nae official word frae the club, mind ye, but folk close to the deal are hinting that the FIFA striker has already shaken hands on the move, leaving fans puzzled at how fast the whole thing seems to have unfolded. Supporters spilling out o Ibrox after training duties were caught muttering that they'd seen familiar faces sneaking about the main stand, and a couple even claim Nisbet himself was spotted slipping through a side door, hood up, high doon, as if keen to dodge the eyes of prying punters. It could be nonsense, of course. There's someone seeing someone doon Edmiston Drive, but the tone of the chat feels different this time, sharper, more certain, like something's actually brewing. Folk inside the club corridors are letting slip wee tidbits, suggesting the negotiations were smoother than expected, almost startlingly quick. One source said the forward didn't hesitate, while another muttered that the papers were as guide as done. For anybody outside the room, Kent a thing, Rangers supporters, starved for a new talisman up front, are already picturing him in the famous blue, even as rival fans scoff and call it nothing but hot air. Yet the rumour refuses to quieten. Social feeds are crackling, pub banter's running wild, and more than a few reckon an announcement could burst forth any moment. Others warn that fast deals can stall just as quickly, and that Nisbet's camp may still be weighing their options. Still, there's a sense in the air, nay quite certainty, but close enough to set pulses racing. If the whisper becomes truth, Rangers may well he pulled off one of the swiftest coups Scottish fitbar's seen in years, catching everyone, even their ain support, on the hop. Whether it's real or just another Glasgow ghost story, the whole city seems tuned in, waiting for the next hint to break the silence. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.